Right, today we are, where are we, Willow?
Audley and...
You look like E.T. with that hood on. All you need to be is in front of a BMX bike in a carry basket thing. Right, so we're at Audley End House. Let me turn you around to look at this beautiful face. We're at Audley End House today because there's a special event going on. It's to do with heavy horses, which I absolutely adore, as you guys probably know. I've lots of loves and they're one of them. And what else is going on here, young Willow?
I don't know.
I don't know, but that's a lot of help from her, wasn't it? But we are now making our way in. So let's join us for a day of fun and frivolity of the equine kind. See you in a little bit. English Heritage, we're members of these fantastic organisation. And they haven't gone woke like the other mob. But we're also members of, well, up until the end of this year. And that will be English Heritage. But there's no politics here, I'm afraid. Look at that view, guys. Look how beautiful it is. Absolutely stunning. This is Audley End, by the way, where we normally come. Let's follow it. Look, they're off. Don't wait for me, will you? She's got the hump because I smacked her bum. Oh, poor old Hazel. Some people dressed like Victorians here in the show ring. I think they're Victorian, dressed like Victorians. They might be ghosts, I don't know. I don't think they are. We don't know, do we? But yeah, so I'm zoomed in there. Zoom out a bit so you can get a little bit of a better view. Cool.
But of course it's impossible when you're out hunting to continue riding in a straight line, or else you'll never get home. So your rider has to learn how to carry and handle her horse downwind too, to use a crosswind direction to achieve the right goal, and to use her body, if necessary, to block the wind from ruffling the hawk's feathers. Now this is Arabian and Africa where you still find them today. So by the 19th century, you would have to have imported your lanner falcon from Europe if you wanted to hunt and hawk with one here in the east of England. And they were a very common and beloved falcon of the English falconer. They were used predominantly to catch partridge with, and it just so happens that Audley End House was renowned as being one of the finest partridge estates in the whole of England. So what better hawk to start our demonstration with? Now of course we're only able to simulate the hunt for you this afternoon, but we shall do that using a variety of techniques and pieces of equipment to show you not only how a falcon flies, but how it pursues and chases its quarry. And instantly you'll note that the falcon is an aerial hunter who is designed to catch his prey on the wing. And that is going to be the role of our lady falconer, whose purpose it is to recall the falcon and allow him to catch his lure in mid-air, as mounted in side saddle. It's not always possible to turn and face your falcon unless your horse is cooperating. And indeed, if the falcon flies downwind, then it's more difficult to follow and to see your bird on flight.
Opportunism, nothing wrong with that.
Swinging about through the parterre gardens just at the rear of the lime tree here. And he's waiting to come in for the kill. And here he comes, line fire, catches his lure perfectly, and one that I think deserves a round of applause for our lady falconer.
Superb.
Now, quick reactions and keen eyesight are very obviously required for this job, but many more skills to boot as well. And so I think this is probably a good time for me to pause and to pass over to our lady falconer, so that she might attempt to describe to you the complexities and the technicalities of what it is that she does. Well, in medieval times, when falconry was in its heyday, our knights would travel out on horseback, and their horses would be kept in stables right by the hawk mews. And so birds and horses would be quite used to each other. But in the Victorian age, and indeed very much so in our modern age, these two creatures very rarely meet. And so, over the years, in order for us to bring this presentation to you, we have had to work very closely with the birds and with our horses and ponies. And
this is what the kids are interested in rather than watching the display.
Generally, just move them around your horse
that Tamagotchi.
It's interesting. I'm looking at boats on here.
Good for you.
At the moment, I think I'm fairly confident I'm winning, although he's not very keen about it. So here we have our pretend bird, and all we have done is spend a considerable amount of time getting Dexter used to the flapping and the opening and closing of our parasol at any point. Because as I mentioned, this can of course be terrifying. To have a hawk approach from the rear, to rise up and open its wings over the horse's head is a big ask for the horse to remain calm. And that's why traditionally hawking ponies were always of a certain constitution. They had to be sculpted. This can of course be terrifying. To have a hawk approach from the rear, to rise up and open its wings over the horse's head is a big ask for the horse to remain calm. And that's why traditionally hawking ponies were always of a certain constitution. They had to be sculpted, or perhaps pheasants and ducks. So ground-dwelling animals that might run or fly at very low levels. And for a hawk to pursue and successfully catch them, it needs to have really good fitness. Think of them like an Olympian. They need to be in a peak of physical perfection. And so, traditionally, there is a very simple technique that is used to achieve that. Now, you'll know if you watch one of our earlier demonstrations, that all of our hawks are trained to bird, which stimulates the prey and of course teaches them what is suitable prey for them to catch. When we're training a ground pursuit hunter, we ordinarily would drag a lure across the ground, and the fastest we could move that lure would be as fast as a person could run with it. And this is where the use of a horse becomes rather handy, because a horse, of course, can run much faster than a human. So you can drag a lure at high speed across the ground, thus pushing your hawk to its limits and teaching it the skills that it will need to chase down and catch the real thing. So our groom is now demonstrating with their horse, Monty, something called a pheasant lure. You can see being dragged on a long line from the rear of the horse.
He is now.
Prey, twists and bounces. From the hawk's perspective, that offers a rather natural style of movement, which excites and interests them, and more importantly, triggers their instinct to chase. Now, when towed at a simple walk, the hawk can very easily catch that. But when our groom kicks on just a little, you can see that the pace picks up, and our lure starts to move ever more rapidly. This would be the second phase of introducing your hawk to the lure. A little bit more fitness, a bit more of a chase. But at full speed, we are really testing the skill of our horse. And look at that fast flying. He's got it.
Thank you. Yep. So this is a cadge.
To the ring, and you can accommodate 6 at the front and 6 at the rear. So those gentlemen would carry up to 12 falcons. Now let's look at this in terms of economics. In history, if you wanted to take a single bird to the hunting field, one man could only carry one bird. If you needed 12 falcons, you're more than noble, and your friend is with you, he has his falcon and he wishes to enter it in the field with yours, he would take a risk and place his falcon upon your cash frame. So a very simple piece of equipment, but one that was worth its weight.
And the lady was saying that cadger, when they became old, sometimes kept their jobs. They were referred to as old codgers. This is where old codger comes from.
So you're starting to understand that just the matter of travelling to the hunting field was a complicated affair. Maintaining your reputation.
Someone's happy down there.
And therefore this was a
sausage roll.
a display that would
You all right?
boost your reputation and hopefully secure your position within the falconry. And we're going to end our mounted falconry demonstration with a flash.
Mummy can't see us. Mummy can't see us.
So keep your eye on his movements. You're with a long bird with a heavy wing beat, and look at that very speedy line of pursuit as he comes in and descends towards his quarry. And what would be in the wild? Well, in these states, the long horsebacks usually hunting for waterfowl, stuck predominantly wolf, and here in East Anglia, of course, with our agricultural landscape, there are no shortage of wolf.
Chickens the other side of it.
What a means why, which is a big and confident bird, and generally works in groups and therefore can be dangerous to tackle. But the falcon has the courage and confidence to do so. And with that high-flying and powerful wielding, well, a rook is certainly enjoying. A lovely suit there,
And he didn't come back, and he gave up in the end, and it turned out he'd gone over the other side of the house and sticked on some chickens and helped himself to chickens.
he's trying to bring him in and allow him to catch his quarry. Once again, from horseback, a lovely bit and I think a big round of applause.
Just 2 o'clock.
We have the king and queen, which are the swans. Are you following this story, Hazel?
Yeah.
The king and queen are the swans. Over here, you've got the goose navy, and they've got land troops. And over here, you've got 4 ducks or 5 ducks that thought they would have it a go at the geese, but the geese obviously, when they realised they were outnumbered 10,000 to 1, they packed it in, and they're now on a recruitment drive for more military ducks. And the swans are just thinking what's going on here, because they're in danger of losing their house, which is the big house there. And that's it, really. That's how it goes. Yeah. That's the field hospital over there with the black, the tent. That's the field hospital.
Yeah.
And that's just somebody who's mental. And yeah, this is it, really.
And I'm the humble servant.
Yes. Or revolting, what are they called?
Yeah, more than likely.
Yeah, revolting peasant, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
With a black, look, show people your black eye.
Yeah.
That's what he gets for talking back to me, you see.
I'm
Not
the
really.
dirty rascal.
How did you get your black eye, Fox? Tell us how you got your black eye. It was a girl, wasn't it? A girl gave you a black eye, didn't
It's
she?
a long story.
It was a...
I can tell
He
you.
actually got shot during the process of the
He did, yes. Okay, we'll leave that there then.
Just kidding.
The same lady who was doing the
Falconry display.
earlier. Yeah.
She gets about. Does that lady? They are. The house is gorgeous.
Yeah.
Here they come. It's like a Boer War campaign on the far right, isn't it?
Well, I think I watched Line of Duty. I've seen that. I've seen her
Why is
before.
it?
Yeah, I couldn't pick her out. That's it. She was in there.
Well, we were watching her last night. I've seen
Right,
her
here we go.
before. We've got it completely
Let's have a
wrong
look,
where
look.
she's been. She's been in.
We'll video in a minute when they come in. Cabbages and kings.
Take all one of those geese like that.
There you go. So I guess it's going to be they're going to use their saber skills, sword wielding skills, or spiking.
That's the little Araby one that we've been before. Those of us who've had horses, we can recognise it.
Victorian horses at Audley. Here in the Riverside Arena now, we have an amazing demonstration for you of Victorian Cavalry. So please welcome into the Riverside Arena our Victorian Cavalcade.
Right, said the old Farquhar.
So ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and raise your voices for our riders. Closest to you, we have Trooper Lowe's, representing the 17th Lancers of the Crimean War, riding Daxi. Next to him, we have Trooper Burrows, mounted on Jim, representing the Essex Yeomanry of the 1890s. In the red, Trooper Martin, riding Kobe, a 16th Lancer from 1885. And next to him, Trooper Altuccini, riding Kashmir, representing the 17th Lancers, right at the end of Queen Victoria's reign and the Boer War. Please give them a warm welcome as they warm their horses. The riders are currently demonstrating military drill. They're riding as a section. That's a line of 4 horses. Do admire the dressing. This means the horses are working well next to one another. The riders are shoulder to shoulder. And a beautiful halt from the 4 of them. And Trooper Lowes rides forwards to allow me to talk about his uniform and tack. So Trooper Lowes represents the 17th Lancers of the Crimean War, perhaps the most famous war of Queen Victoria's reign, fought in 1854. Now, you may have heard of it because Florence Nightingale, Mary Seacole, but Victorian people would have heard of it too because it was the first war that ever made it to our doorsteps in terms of newspaper correspondence by a man called William Russell for the Times newspaper. And also it was the first war that we saw. We could see into the eyes of the soldiers as photographs made it back from the lens of a man called Fenton. And if you get the opportunity to look those up, they give us a really remarkable human insight into the Crimean War. The 17th Lancers, as represented by Trooper Lowes, were present at the Battle of Balaclava, the charge of the Light Brigade in October of 1854. They are known as the Death or Glory Boys. And as you see Daxie cantering down the arena here, you can hear the chinking of the chain around her neck. Multiply that by 800, listen to her hooves, and you will get a small idea of how the Light Brigade sounded as they charged down the Valley of Death into the face of the Russian cannon.
Lord Tennyson, isn't it?
Trooper Lowes wears a Shapska hat. It is similar to the one worn by Trooper Martin, but he has a waterproof cover on it, and the cap line keeping it from falling from his head, a cartridge pouch worn over his shoulder, and also looks stunning in the saddlery that was prepared for the horses. You see the cross-section bridle across her face, the Turkish crescent hanging beneath her chin, the double reins, the breastplate with the royal crest upon it, and she looks absolutely stunning as she comes down the line here. The sheepskin acting as representing the Essex Yeomanry. Now, the Essex Yeomanry uniform is rather dashing, I think you will find. It is green and gold. He wears the stable jacket with the gold facings down the trouser legs there, and the dashing, if not impractical, pillbox hat on his head. I know how much you love that cap, Trooper Burrows. He also has at the back, you can see the green valise. This is like a luggage bag, if you like. He can keep some of his clothing and equipment there. He carries the 1868 pattern lance, wallets at the front of the saddle for the horse's equipment, and the sword that he carries, I will just double check I get this correct, is the 1885 sword. He rides Jim, who is an Irish draft horse. Now, to be in the Essex Yeomanry, you had to have your own horse and be able to ride it, and you had to be free to attend 2 weeks of summer camp every year. So they weren't professional riders. They were called upon in times of crisis, and they did find themselves taking part in several conflicts. So a big round of applause, please, for Trooper Burrows and Jim. Next, we have Trooper Martin on Kobe, representing the 16th Lancers of 1885. This is around the year of the conflicts in the Sudan and Egypt. Queen Victoria's reign was long and it was victorious, but there were an awful lot of conflicts right the way across the globe, and the cavalry would have been involved in many of those as they were considered an important part of the expeditionary forces. So he wears a scarlet tunic, absolutely resplendent and shining. It really stands out there. He wears blue breeches. He also wears the Shapska hat, a Polish hat, which was copied after the Battle of Waterloo. They liked what the Poles were wearing and decided to copy it. He has a plume on his, so his looks very different from the one worn by Trooper Lowes. He has the white gauntlets as well, also carries the 1868 pattern lance, the 1885 sword, and he will demonstrate a little lance drill for you now. So this is lance against cavalry. This is to show you that that brutal triform point at the front of the lance can be used to stab the man on the horse, or I'm sorry to say, the horse itself. But you can also use the butt of the lance. The far end of it is equally brutal. Whilst it is there to act as a counterweight, it can also be used as an offensive weapon. The red and white pennant you see fluttering from the top of his lance also comes from the Battle of Waterloo and from the Poles, so the red and white flag being the Polish flag. The 16th Lancers used to crimp theirs because at the Battle of Aliwal they were said to be so covered with the blood of the enemy that they looked as if they had been crimped, and so they started to do that. A round of applause for a spectacular lance drill for Trooper Martin and Kobe. Likewise, the bright chain chinking around the neck. This is used to tie the horse up when it's not being ridden. And now, as they say, for something completely different. Trooper Alticini and Cashmere. We don't see any thick wool. We don't see any regimental dress here. We see khaki, perhaps more familiar to us as a modern audience looking at a man in the army. Khaki literally means mud or dust coloured. It's actually an Indian word. And this was adopted by this period because rather than stand out as the way the men are here in their full service dress, they thought it better to blend in, especially at the Boer War on the South African veldt. And so he wears a khaki tunic, corduroy breeches. He has a bandolier around his shoulder with ammunition for his gun. He too carries the lance because this was still considered to be the most formidable of cavalry weapons. And he wears puttees around his legs, essentially bandages wrapped around the legs to keep out the dirt and the mud and all those creepy, crawly, horrible insects that you're likely to find in South Africa. The brown blanket underneath the saddle acts as protection from the saddle rubbing, but can also be used to keep the horse warm on those cold nights. And the saddle they are all riding in is the UP, the universal pattern. It's built onto wooden planks, and it enables the rider to keep the weight off the horse's spine and to distribute the weight more evenly. I'm jumping out of period here, but I can tell you that by the Great War, only 14 years after Trooper Alticini is representing, the weight that a cavalry horse would be carrying could be up to 18 stone. Now, enough talking. You've had the history lesson, you've seen the beautiful uniforms, but let's get them moving. And the sword is perhaps one of the most striking weapons used by the cavalryman, a slightly curved blade, which means it sticks on the target for longer. Now, it's the last day of the summer holidays. Any parents willing to volunteer their children to act as our head hot targets? Oh, we've got one. My public liability insurance doesn't cover it. No, we're going to use these lovely targets in the middle here. They're set roughly at the head height of a very tall man. And instead of a real head, we're using a cabbage. So, they are going to cut, ideally, backhand. They need to be careful that they don't chop off their horse's ears. That too is not covered by the insurance. Sorry. And they need to cut through those cabbages. If they hit the post, you'll hear a chink on the wood. And if they swipe forwards, well, it's a cut, but it's not quite as spectacular. Are you ready, Trooperlos? Let's start the cabbage cutting. Oh, that was a lukewarm cheer. Come on! Scalped it. And that's cut. Now, if you just bear in mind, our ground crew still need their heads, so the cabbages are going to be replaced. So it may take a little time. The cabbage is set. Let's have a cheer for Trooper Martin and Kobe.
Hey!
That second cabbage is in for it today. And let's have a cheer for Trooper Alticini and Cashmere. Smashing it. Both times. Steady there, Jim. Cabbages are set. Trooper Barrows on Jim. That's a good one. the faster they go. Of course, coleslaw will be for sale at the end of the show. And using the point of the sword to obliterate that cabbage.
Well, you couldn't eat it side on, that's why.
Trooper Martin and Kobe! Smashing through that first one. Waiting the second. Are we running out of cabbages yet? And let's have a cheer, please. Find out. Fantastic. And our Essex Yeomanry. The local lads. We're representing the local lad. He's really from Yorkshire. Good day. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think we have killed enough cabbages. Let's try something else. Now, we've shown you how you... That was quite good, wasn't it? So a carry with the sword, that really is a difficult thing to do. Swing right out of the saddle, pick up the white peg on the ground. It's a tent peg, essentially. Trooper Martin, whoa.
Whoa.
On Kobe. Did you give him those oats for breakfast? Carry of the ring, but not of the peg. An excellent run. Next we have Trooper Alticini, our Bulwar 17th Lancer, Death or Glory. Oh, the ring fell off. I think we need to give him another go at that. A bit harsh if your target falls off. It must have fainted in fear. I love this long run up you're all giving yourselves. I think it makes it easier somehow. Trooper Burrows and Jim!
Hey.
Trooper Burrows and Jim!
Hey.
Hey. Nicely done. Lingered into the crowd. Can we give Trooper Alticini another go? I think we should. The ring fell off. That's such a dirty look. You're reversing. You should put your hazard lights on if you're doing things like that. Come on, Trooper Alticini, we're giving you another go. No pressure.
What's he doing?
Right, give him the biggest cheer you've got.
Hey! Hey!
Oh! Never mind. Nothing like setting him up, was there? It was a bit harsh. Is he going again? Oh, he's going again. He hasn't had enough of it the first time.
Yeah, the horses got other
Now,
ideas.
ladies and gentlemen, a bit about the breeding of our horses. The Victorians would choose their horses for the colour. We choose them for the breeding. Here we have the X-race horse.
Hey!
Somewhere in there she's got some brakes. Grey horses typically would be ridden by trumpeters, but both of these men quite like their teeth where they are. So we are using the horses that we like with the temperaments that we love. Here comes Kobe the cob. Nicely done. You're so good at that as well. Trooper Burrows rides Jim, the Irish Draughts Cross, other things. Jim's an ex-dressage horse. New career here. And a dislodge. Very nicely done. And the final horse, if you'd like to go again, sir, is Cashmere. Cashmere's Daxy's stablemate. And Kashmir is an Argentine polo pony. And that's what she spends most of her time doing, is polo. However, she only speaks Spanish. He did it! First ring, well done, Trooper Alticini. Excellent. See, when you're ready, off you go. 3 points. Peg is picked up, it is not replaced incidentally, so they only get a set number of chances. Trooper Martin, when you're ready. Touch, 1 point. Need to cheer louder. Trooper Alticini in Kashmir. But not good enough. Oh, he's off. Just, you know, steady on. And a carry. Goes to show speed's not everything. That's what you say. Are we ready for the pairs? Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, you've seen them individually. Now they're going to go in pairs. This is where things could hot up as the horses start to race one another. Although I'm not quite sure with Jim, but we'll see. So our first pairing, we have Trooper Lowe's, Trooper Martin. Off you go when you're ready. Cheer them on! Carry for Trooper Lowe's. Touch for Trooper Martin. You're going to give him a head start there, Trooper Alticini. Go on! 3 points each. So, 6 points to Trooper Barrows and to Trooper Lowe's. 3 to... Go! Yay! So it was a carry for Trooper Burrows, it was a carry for Trooper Alticini, carry for Trooper Martin, and was it a miss for Trooper Lowe's? Yeah! This goes to show, doesn't it? Speed's not everything. So, my question is, gentlemen, would you like one more run as a 4? I think you should. Would you like to see them do it again? Yeah! It will take a little time to set up, but I can almost guarantee it will be worth it. Let's do one more run as a 4. And the splendour of the Victorian Cavalry. I'm going to get out of the way before I end up on the wrong end of a peg. Go!
Way! Whoa!
Three each for Trooper Martin, Trooper Alticini, Trooper Burrows. Right, gentlemen, make your way back to the centre of the arena, please. Remove your pegs and we will do a lap of honour for our victor before we do our final spectacular. Here we go. So your winner, ladies and gentlemen, with 12 points is Trooper Burrows and Jim. That's in an extremely close second. With 10 points is Trooper Alticini and Kashmir. In third place with 8 points, Trooper Martin, and in fourth place, Trooper Lowe's with 6 points. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that Trooper Alticini and Kashmir have only been doing this for less than a month. He's picked up more tent pegs today than he ever did in training, and he deserves a huge cheer for having the guts and the bravery Cavalry to come out here and to do what he's done on his wonderful horse Cashmere. Thank you for being part of our team. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our riders are making their way up to the top end of the arena for one final spectacular. Before they do that, I just want to bring us down to a little bit more of reality. For we're showing you the spectacle and the glamour of cavalry games, but of course the reality was far grittier in times of war, and it affected Audley End House very greatly. For during the Crimean War in the 1850s, the two brothers of Grey and Henry Neville both went out to serve in cavalry regiments during the Crimea. One of them was killed at the Battle of Inkerman, and the other in the charge of the Heavy Brigade, which was the charge before the charge of the Light Brigade. The names Light and Heavy refer to the weight and build of the horses. And so the house behind you would have been plunged into a house of mourning, and Lord Braybrook in his study would have received note that not one but two of his sons had been killed in battle. So it does really bring it home that while we have this spectacle, it is a very grim reality. And so, as a tribute to the Victorian Cavalry, to the men and to their horses, our Victorian riders are going to do one final charge. Listen for the sound of the horses' hooves pounding. Listen for the bright chains chinking, and get your cameras ready. You don't want to miss this. Let's have a cheer for the Victorian Cavalry.
Hooray!
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for those who have made this show possible. To our ground crew, to Kathy, Charlotte and Nick, to Kyle, to our sound man Dave. Please give a round of applause to our troopers. To Trooper Lowe's, Trooper Burrows, Trooper Martin, Trooper Altacini. But to those who have worked the hardest today, ladies and gentlemen, we give you our pride and joy, our horses. Daxi, Jim, Kennedy and Cashmere.
And a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for your compere, Miss Kate Fagan.
Hey!
Ladies and gentlemen, our pride at being able to deliver this at Audley End House is unbelievable. If you'd like to share any images, please do.
Someone had the fantastic idea of getting the kids Tamagotchis. And we all know how that ends. They do like them, but they become obsessed with them, and it's got to a sticky point where it's nothing but arguing. They're in the back there. Oh, I think people know what Tamagotchis are. They've been around since at least the 80s, as far as I'm, maybe 90s. They've been around a long time anyway. So, despite the heavy horse promises today, it turned out not to be heavy horses.
But there were horses.
There were horses. It turned out to actually be a Victorian horse day, wasn't it? And it was Victorian ladies, Victorian falconry horseback, Victorian Cavalry, which was really interesting as you watch the video. So yeah, it turned out all right actually. Who? Baby ducks apparently.
Navy.
Oh, navy ducks. Yeah, you'll see that from by now you know what he's on about. And if you don't, then you haven't watched the video, and bad for you, really, because you've missed a treat. No, it's really been enjoyable. Have you enjoyed it, Hazel?
Yeah, very nice day.
It's a nice way to end the sort of summer holidays, isn't it, really? And they've
Cold.
it wasn't that cold, and I'm very happy because I got myself a bottle of mead. So yeah. I have no idea. We'll just go, yeah.
It's called the best day ever, Daddy. Haven't you watched it?
I watched it. I'm in it, and I've made it. Yes. All right. Yeah, it's a good day. It was a good day. It was very enjoyable. And do you know what? When the people were doing their thing, there's a little point in me speaking over it because I was videoing them doing it, and it was very interesting. And just in case it was nice.
It's hard to say that if you talked over it while they were doing, the people around you might have been a little bit irritated.
They might have been a little bit irritated, but irritate people all the time anyway, so I would not have known had they have got irritated. Neither would I have cared. Irritation is my middle name. They didn't name me Fiberglass for nothing, you know. I'm very irritating. Fiberglass Dan. So yeah, that's it really. It was what?
Pink car.
Where? Oh, they're doing a pink car. They see a pink car, they shout pink car. I don't know. I'm not going to tell people what it is. I think I might have told them before. It's a long, laborious explanation. Hang on, I didn't mention annoying. Or did I? No. But thanks for that. Now I know what you think of me.
I don't think.
You drinking your own wee? Is that wee? What? That's got you stumped. It's orange juice. Right, okay, so that's it. So we had a fun day out in the end. It was actually really, really good. And now we're all tuckered out and off home for luck tea. Put the gym jams on. And yeah, that's it. So we'll see you. Say goodbye, kids.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Say goodbye, Hazel. Goodbye, everybody. See you in the next one.
Victorian horseback.